Hello, I'm Debbie Bell hosking for Finextra TV here at EBAday 2023 in Madrid. And I'm talking to Isabel Schmidt of BNY Mellon, and we're talking fraud. Isabel, hello.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. We've been chatting off camera that you've just come off a panel, EBAday, and you were telling me that fraud was actually the number 2 concern.
Absolutely. Yes. So interoperability of systems and the technology certainly came up as a key topic, but making payments, instant payments safe was a key issue. Absolutely.
So this is a good discussion for us to be having.
Perfect.
So we're talking about payments, and they are becoming increasingly real time. So how do banks strike that balance between accuracy and speed and fraud control?
Yeah. So first of all, yes, instant payments are increasing in number and in size. And it is true, the faster money moves around the world, the faster fraud can actually be perpetuated. So it is a big concern, as we also saw from the panel that you mentioned this morning. I think the things that we're thinking about when we're talking to clients and listening to the feedback is the realization that a lot of what we need to think through is things that we can do before the payment gets initiated. Because once the money is on the way, it is instant, and that's the purpose of what we're trying to do. So catching things after the fact is much harder. So that's number one. And a lot of work has gone into this from an industry perspective, developing solutions in that space. The other element is to also take into consideration individual clients' risk appetite, because different clients have different perspectives on what matters to them. And as service providers, I think it's important that we take that into consideration as well, because your experience of what is good or expectation of what is good may not be the same as mine. So that's an important element as well.
What about data validation services? Are they key?
Yeah, so data validation services absolutely are the foundation of the things that we can do upfront before we get the payment on the way. So a significant trend that we see globally actually is around understanding counterparties, and for somebody who's sending a payment, making sure that they're actually sending it to the right person, right? So for me, for example, as a consumer in the United States, I have a banking app, and my banking provider now asks 5 times, are you sure you want to send the payment to this particular individual? Is this really the person you're trying to pay? So validation services around the beneficiaries, around accounts, are really important in making sure that our clients are sending the money to who they actually want to send it to, right? So there are solutions, that we have developed at BNY Mellon internally to allow clients to do account validations. But there can be different levels. One is just, does this account even exist, right? Now that is, one thing, and I think as an industry we started with it. It doesn't protect you from fraud, because a fraudulent payment is not going to go to an account that doesn't exist. That account exists. So it really is the step beyond is, does that account that I'm trying to pay, is it Isabel's account, or is it somebody else's account? So the granularity of that information is absolutely key, right? So having that information first is important. And I think the subsequent building blocks are around then understanding patterns of behavior, and this is where risk appetites come in. It's like, is a certain transaction pattern normally, right?
Yeah.
So do I normally make payments at 8 o'clock in the morning? Well, actually I don't, because I'm at work and I shouldn't be making payments at 8 o'clock in the morning, right? So things like that need to be built into our capabilities. Validations, and then behavioral analytics and capabilities.
And when it comes to banks, how can they ensure that they have the right data and the right business intelligence to fight fraud?
Yeah, that's absolutely key. So we have various sources of data. One are internal sources, then there's data that comes from clients, and then there's data that we can source from outside parties or from the industry, right? So our internal data sources is what we know about the client, again, about their normal patterns of behavior and so on. Payment data that comes from clients is really important, and the key theme there is structured data. So is the information that we're receiving from clients in a format that allows actually using it effectively? And the move of the industry overall to ISO has been, or is a great enabler as we continue to actually deepen that. So that's the second element, and I think the third element is the external data, and that's really where collaboration is key. Where industry solution that allow us to build account validations services is essential. So there are capabilities in each domestic market. Swift is actually doing a lot of work also to help bring together global solutions. But these trends are still nascent, and we need to continue to work on them as industries.
And of course, as well, you mentioned collaboration moments earlier. So may I ask you, how important is cross-industry collaboration now?
Yeah, it's absolutely essential. Every bank only sees a small portion of the overall payment space. So in order for models to work effectively, we actually need big data pools, right? So this is where we all need to come together. We all need to be able to share data without sharing data at the same time, because we're operating in a highly regulated environment. We need to be respectful of our clients' privacy. So cracking that nut I think, is the most important challenge for us as an industry overall, especially when we're starting to talk about cross-border instant payments, where the complexities are really huge. And again, the amount of information we each have of the total pie gets smaller and smaller. So in this space, exploring opportunities for privacy-enhancing technologies, where we can do that, where we can actually put data into a pool, so to speak, but preserving the integrity and the privacy of that data is really key. And at BNY Mellon, we've actually done some really interesting work with Swift and with Microsoft that is exploring models and capabilities that do exactly that. So we're very much encouraged by the progress we've made. We think that is essential to combating fraud in the payment space.
And after that description in my head, I've got a picture of this like integrity pool.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's been so interesting, Isabel. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.